Bonjour tout le monde, how you doing today? It's Farah here. Welcome back to À la Parisian. So, it's big news and I needed to make a video about it ASAP. Talking about Emily in Paris, as you already know. What is cliché and what is real? And I know that there's a lot of these videos circulating on the internet. Let me give you a little background about me if you're new to my channel. I am an expat living in Paris. I work in the fashion industry, so I can really comment on a few things like the parties that Emily's invited to, because in the movie she works in fashion, like she works in the marketing firm, but it's a luxury fashion marketing firm. So there's a lot of scenes where there's like parties about fashion. The clothes are very highlighted, you know, like the type of clothes she's wearing. So let's get into the juiciness. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. I hope you enjoy it. So if you've watched the series, feel free to comment down below. I'd really be curious to see what you think of my points. And if you're an expat in Paris, add to the conversation. Let's you know, shed light on the truth and what's really Paris is really like. And it's just for fun. It's just because it's a popular TV show and it's just for fun. Nothing is serious, guys. So even though I'm like pointing out cliches and things like that, it was a really fun show to watch. I enjoyed it. So with that being said, let's get to the point and break this down. So at first, let's talk about what's true. I'm going to talk about it from my perspective, obviously, and my experience as an expat in Paris, like Emily. I'm going to talk about some of the similarities of the experience of the show to my own. And one thing that really resonated with me and stood out was how beautiful Paris is, how they show Paris is so beautiful, and the scenes they show. I mean, Paris really looks like that. Paris is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's like I always say Paris is a photo op wherever you go, which almost whichever street you go, there is an opportunity for a photo op, and it's insane. And yes, there is a cinematography aspect, so you know, they make Paris look more magical, but honestly, in my eyes, Paris looks like that to me. So yeah, if you don't agree or agree, comment down below. This is going to be funny to talk about. And so yeah, I really liked that I could recognize the places that Emily went, the places they go to eat, and the parties. So the parties are really like that. Very glitz and glamour, and yeah, gorgeous, sophisticated and beautiful buildings with beautiful interiors. Like if you follow me on well, if you know me from my YouTube channel or follow me on Instagram, sometimes I post like the fashion events, fashion shows I go to, and they're just marvelous parties. Okay, so yeah, sorry about that, just a little alarm. I have a little notebook here because I had to remember all of the points. So yes, Paris does have a very glamorous part, obviously, but I always say that Paris has a glamorous part and it also has a very, you know, grungy, real, not that the glamorous part isn't real, but a street style, like grungy street style aspect, streetwear aspect of Paris. There's a lot of that too. So it's kind of like an extreme between two of these worlds, and it's really interesting working in fashion. I'm a style consultant and a fashion stylist here, so I really get to witness both ends. Number 2, chance encounters. So when I first moved to Paris, there were a lot of like chance encounters with people, with men, with friends, with, it's kind of a magical city for that. The type of people you meet here, again, last disclaimer, but this may not be everyone's experience, my experience. But in my experience, there were a lot of chance encounters. I mean, I've met really cool people randomly and just at parties, and I've also met cool guys that I've gone out with, and I've also dated on apps. So, you know, there's all sorts of things, but chance encounters do exist, and like bumping into people again somewhere, that exists. So like Paris is kind of like a small city in that regard, because the chance encounters, that really does happen. Okay, third thing that was similar in the movie, French men. Let's talk about the French men. In my experience, French men are very, very cute, handsome and charming, and very, very well-mannered for the most part, and more well-mannered than some other places that I've lived. So in that regard, they're well-mannered in my opinion. Of course, there's all sorts of men and all sorts of different experiences, but for the most part, I've had a really, really pleasant French men dating experience, and yeah, they're very charming. I mean, the word I would use for a French man is charmant, which means like a charmer or charming, because they sweep you off your feet. And I don't know if it's the accent or their culture, or I don't even know what it is about them, or they're just so darn cute. But they're very, very charming and sexy. And yeah, so like, I'm very lucky to be with a very handsome, charming, and sexy French man. At the moment, I have a boyfriend. He is French, and ooh la la. One thing I would like to say is there are very different dating rules here in France, and then in other countries. And I've made like a couple of dating videos about like my tips on dating in general, like what I've learned from my experience dating here, because I was like almost serial dating for a year before I met my boyfriend, and I learned so much, and I learned about the culture of dating here and how it works and everything, but that's for my other videos, so I'm not going to expand upon it here. But if you're interested to check it out, I will leave you the videos down in the description box and like up in the eye, so look out for that. Also, oh shoot, about the guys, yes, you do get hit on all the time. I just wanted to say, yes, you get hit on all the time. And more, in fact, this morning I got a message from just a random guy on an expat group, which I asked some kind of, you know, marketing question, and he had my messenger, so he decided to want to talk to a femme séduisante, and I'm like, So anyway, so that happens all the time. Yeah, it does. Okay, so now that we have done the what's true, let's get into the fun part of the cliches, the differences that I found, like the very, very like what the F kind of things. And I have to say, I found more differences than similarities. Let's talk about how the French people are portrayed in general. They're portrayed as being very rude at first to Emily. For example, the flower lady, the boulanger, her guardian, you know, all kind of just snapping at her and like talking French at her, and like saying, just like being very, you know, this kind of thing. And I was kind of shocked to see that, because in my experience, they're nice mannered people here, and they're cultured and they have nice manners. And I found French people, well, I know there are situations where they get annoyed if you don't speak French at all and they can't speak English and they can't communicate with you, and there's like a frustration. So it's normal, I think, in any language, and just depending on the personality of the person, one would get annoyed. And the fact that Emily doesn't attempt to speak much French that I saw in the series, I mean, she says bonjour, you know, which is horrible. I hate the way she says bonjour. But I know that I heard that Lily Collins actually does speak French, so that made me feel better, because I really, really hated her accent and the way she exaggerated that bit. But that's like a personal pet peeve of mine. Like, I strive to have a nice accent when I speak French, so yeah, that... Anyway, sidetrack, and I'm like going on a tangent. I wanted to say that French people are nice. So it was shocking to see the display of French people as being like super rude. Like, even her boss. I can't speak for myself because I haven't worked in like a firm here or something. I have worked in a fashion house. And everyone I worked with, like even the superiors and everything, okay, albeit it was an Italian fashion house, so a lot of the staff were Italians. But I had a few French colleagues and they were super nice, like super nice. And like even the French admin who, you know, because it was based in France, so there has to be French admin, so nice. I spoke to them on the phone. So I do speak French though, so that can make a difference. But anyway, so Emily's boss, horrible. At least there were those funny guys in the office who, you know, lightened everything. But yeah, it seemed like pretty dire to work there. Like, geez, I wouldn't want to work in Emily's firm, you know what I mean, and be Emily. Yeah, she had a hard time, but also just her approach. Yeah, even though she's super talented, no doubt, like she looked like she was really, really good at what she did. And actually, I have a friend in Paris who works in a fashion, in a marketing firm, and she did attest that while she feels a similarity to being a foreigner in the firm, her colleagues and her boss are really nice to her, but she also speaks French, so that may be a disparity. But seriously, I don't think even if you didn't speak French they are that rude. I would just like to say that. So a big difference for me, and it kind of, I didn't like that was not, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way as well, because it was a really wrong portrayal of French people. Let's talk about style now. Since I'm a style consultant and I work in fashion, I need to comment on her style. I would just like to say that, I mean, she's gorgeous, so whatever she wears is kind of cute. I'm not commenting on that, but I really, really hated the style. Just as a whole. There were some elements about her looks, like a skirt or like an umbrella or that were nice, but other than like the way it was put together, oh my god, terrible. And it looked more like something you would wear in New York than in Paris or in London, because something that shows like a lot of personality expression. Paris is more classic. The style is more classic. You see what I'm wearing today? I wore this kind of on purpose for this video to show you. This is kind of like what a Parisian would wear at work. So I have just a basic turtleneck here. I have my little smart jacket. I have, you know, I've layered a shirt under it, and then I'm actually wearing leather pants. So for that, there's like a little edge. Yes, there's a little edge. You can add a little edge, or if you're more feminine, you can add like a skirt to this look. or, you know, change up the top and stuff like that. But there's nothing so hugely colorful or so much like pattern and mixing patterns, and yeah, there's nothing like what Emily was wearing. It was just way too much, and like just like kind of like she picked stuff out of, like she went to the Chanel store and she just picked like the outfits and put the whole thing together on her body. It's not how people dress here. They're very, very selective, and they put brands together, as in they will collect a wardrobe over time, and so they will wear like really, really classic pieces together and put them together and layer them in order to create an ensemble, not just take something out of a catalog and put it on their body. Actually, this is so funny because this actually reminds me of style in Bangkok, and I like, obviously there's freedom in the world and you can dress how you want, but I really, really don't like this because there's no creativity, and somehow I prefer the kind of subdued minimal style. So that's what I figured out living in Paris as well, that I am a more like classic kind of looking person. I do believe in that you like have to absolutely follow your personality and show your personality, but how Emily was dressing was way too much. No one dresses like that. Her boss, on the other hand, she did a good job in portraying French style. She looked very, very elegant, very chic. I really, really loved the dresses she wore and the type of clothes she wore. Although there was one skirt which was like a super, super high slit. I'm not sure about that really. But other than that, like, yes, she did a really good job in portraying how people dress. But also, when you go to parties, with that being said, when you go to parties and you attend fashion week and things like that, there's different rules and you can go a little bit overboard. And even for photo shoots, the way the photos I take for my street style and things like that, I do amp up the style a little bit, otherwise it would be just totally like very vanilla, you know, Parisian style. And I like to show a little bit more oomph in some ways and just like push the envelope, push the limits a little. Sorry for the big fashion rant. Now we're going on to transportation. In the show, Emily never takes the metro. I am so shocked about this. I mean, okay, she works in a marketing firm, I understand. She wears designer clothes. Not sure that you're making so much money working in a marketing firm to wear designer clothes. Plus, Paris is an expensive city, so the fact that, and we never even see her like riding a bike, but just walking everywhere. And I do understand people do walk, you know, everywhere. But the fact is that she's walking in really, really high heels or really high boots sometimes, which, to being someone who has worn those kind of shoes, like it breaks the suspended reality for me. It's like, no, that does not happen. No. So she doesn't take the metro ever. She even talks about taking the metro and getting lost, but yeah, so she never takes the metro, which is, Parisians take the metro. Most of the Parisians, even if they're like working, I see people in nice clothes, nice suits in the metro. It just depends on what line you're going, but it's very common in Paris and when you're Parisian to take the metro. Oh sure, if you have a chauffeur and you can order an Uber sometimes, yes, absolutely, but the fastest, most convenient way of transportation is the metro. The fact that Emily doesn't take the metro at all, that's a problem. That's something wrong. So I would say if there is a Emily part 2, make her take the metro at least. So integral to the Parisian way of life is that there is a saying in Paris. There's a saying in Paris that says métro, boulot, dodo. And if you've lived here long enough, you will know about that. And that means metro, work, sleep. So that is like a Parisian's day. Metro, work, sleep. And yeah, so definitely make her take the metro, guys. Well, that's all I have, and it was a big ranty video. I really hope you enjoyed my comments, and please feel free to join in the conversation. It'll be so fun. I'm making this video for fun, obviously, like I said, and to engage in a discussion about this funny show about Paris. But overall, I did like Emily in the end. I mean, she is nice. They developed the character, and I did like her in the end, even though in the beginning she came off as a little bit obnoxious and pretentious, but over time they built her character, and I could see that, you know, she's a nice person, and the show was really entertaining, and I like I said, I love the parts of like being able to relate to being an expat and living here, and some parts. Have you seen it? If you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it so you can join in this discussion, and if I've tickled your fancy, then great. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Guys, thank you very much. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Join my community. If you like Paris and life in Paris, I show you a lot of Paris in my perspective. I'm a fashion consultant here. I also have a family here, so you'll see some of my family life and how I balance being a mom, working, I'm starting my own business, and yes, just how life is here. And yeah, so I do a lot of fashion videos to keep you on trend as well. So if you haven't joined me, I would really love if you subscribed, and take care, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bisous, ciao.